I am an old woman now, wrinkled and gray. My once vibrant red hair is now white as snow, fading away like a half-forgotten dream. The mirror reflects a stranger, a lifetime of stories etched onto my face. Who I was and who I am, the gap is bridged by memories, by regrets, and by a love that defied all odds. They call me Ilara. I live in a quaint cottage nestled between rolling hills and whispering trees. My days are filled with tending my garden, baking bread, and savoring the sweet taste of solitude. My evenings are filled with candlelight and the company of memories. In the twilight of my years, I find solace in the silence. But tonight, I sit by my window, lost in thoughts, watching the moon paint silver streaks on the waves of the distant sea. Tonight, I am 24 again. The year is 1975. I'm a lecturer at the prestigious St. Sybil's College. I teach literature, specifically romantic poetry. I suppose it's fitting. It was love, after all, that led me to my greatest joy and my deepest sorrow. Back then, I wore my heart on my sleeve, and my mind was a fortress of knowledge. There was no one like me at St. Sybil's, and that made me powerful. I commanded respect, perhaps even a little fear, and my colleagues, well, they admired my tenacity and dedication. Or perhaps they merely tolerated me. Women like me weren't exactly common back then, especially not in academia. I was ambitious, driven, and fiercely independent. I had clawed my way to the top, determined to prove that intelligence and passion had no gender. But then she arrived, Maya Bella. She was different from the other students. Where others saw me as a stern taskmaster, Maya saw a person. She was the only one who dared to linger after class, not to ask for extra credit or to discuss grades, but to talk about books, about life, about anything and everything except the syllabus. We would debate, we would laugh, and sometimes we would simply sit in silence, each lost in our own thoughts, yet connected by an invisible bond. She was like a breath of fresh air, reminding me of what it was like to be young, to be curious, to be alive. My colleagues noticed her, and they whispered their concerns. But I paid them no heed. I told myself I was merely being a good mentor, nurturing a promising student's inquisitive mind. But deep down, I knew there was more to it. I was drawn to her spirit, her intelligence, and yes, her beauty. There was something about her eyes, a depth that seemed to see right through me, that mirrored the complexities of my own soul. Those eyes, like pools of liquid starlight, held an endless fascination for me, and I found myself captivated by them. Our relationship was unconventional. Yes, but it wasn't inappropriate, or so I convinced myself. We attended conferences together. We discussed academic ideas. We even shared a few stolen glances across crowded lecture halls. I cherished these moments, these rare instances where I could feel her gaze upon me, where I could steal a smile, a touch, a whisper. Each interaction fueled my passion, rekindled my spirit, and awakened emotions I thought I had long buried. I remember a particular evening vividly. We were in Paris for a literary conference, and after a day of scholarly discussions, we found ourselves strolling along the Seine. The city lights shimmered on the water, and the air was filled with the scent of fresh bread and blooming lilacs. As we walked, we talked, we laughed, and for a moment, the world around us ceased to exist. It was just the two of us lost in our own little bubble of joy and contentment. Suddenly, she stopped, turned to me, and asked, "What do you see, Ilara?" I was taken aback. "What do I see?" "In me," she whispered. "What do you see?" I looked into her eyes, into that fathomless depth, and I saw not a student, not an admirer, but a kindred spirit. I saw a love that defied convention, a connection that transcended the boundaries of our worlds. Before I knew it, my lips were moving. I see a love that has been echoing in my soul since the dawn of time. The words tumbled out of me, a torrent of emotions unleashed, a love that has been calling out to me, guiding me to this very moment. I reached out to her, my fingers trembling slightly, and she took them, her touch electrifying, her eyes shining with understanding. In that moment, as the city lights twinkled around us, I knew that my life had changed forever. The boundaries I had so carefully constructed around my heart crumbled like sand slipping through my fingers, and I surrendered to the overwhelming feeling that had captured me, the feeling that was Maya, back in the safety of my office. Amidst the stacks of books and papers, I would replay that moment over and over in my mind. I would relive her touch, savor her words, and dream of a future where we could be more than colleagues, where we could be lovers. But reality was a harsh mistress. We were bound by societal norms, by academic ethics, by the very institution we served. We were trapped in a world that demanded decorum and propriety. And so we played our parts. I became the stern professor, the formidable scholar, and she became the bright, eager student, the star pupil. There were times, however, when the facade threatened to crumble, a shared look across the classroom, a chance encounter in the corridor, a lingering handshake, each moment a reminder of the love that dared not speak its name. The tension grew palpable and suffocating until one rainy afternoon she walked into my office, not as a student, but as Maya. She was drenched, her hair plastered to her forehead, her eyes shining with unshed tears. She sat down, placed a battered book on my desk, and said, "I need your help." Inside the book, there was a poem, one that spoke of unrequited love, of longing and despair. And, as she read, her voice trembled, mirroring the turmoil in her heart. That day, I broke the rules. I shattered the barriers I had so painstakingly built. I walked her home through the rain, her head resting on my shoulder, my arm wrapped protectively around her waist. When we parted ways at her doorstep, I didn't turn back. I couldn't bear to see the disappointment in her eyes, the pain in her goodbye. I chose love over decorum, passion over propriety. That night, I walked away from the only life I had ever known. Days turned into months, months into years. We traveled, we explored, we fell deeply in love. We created a world of our own, a sanctuary where love was the only rule, where passion was the guiding light. It was exhilarating, terrifying, and ultimately heartbreaking. You see, I had given up everything for love. My career, my reputation, my sense of self, and in the end, I lost everything. She left me, not because she stopped loving me, but because she couldn't bear seeing me wither away, my dreams abandoned, my potential unrealized. She wanted me to be Ilara, the brilliant scholar, not just Maya's lover. I suppose in a way, she was right. Now, as I sit here in my little cottage, The faint echoes of the past surround me. Sometimes I hear Maya's laughter in the wind, or I see her in the swaying trees. My memories are a bitter, sweet torment, a constant reminder of what was and what could have been. Did I make the right choice? I ask myself as the years slip by. Was it worth sacrificing my career, my life's work, for a love that was never meant to be? Perhaps not. I have no answers. All I have are memories and regrets. The sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. It's a beautiful sunset, the kind that makes one want to reach out and touch the heavens. I watch it, mesmerized, as if hoping to capture a piece of that fleeting beauty. Then I turn away, returning to my thoughts, to my memories, to Maya. If I could turn back time, would I do it all again? Would I choose love over everything else? I don't know. All I know is that as I sit here in the twilight of my years, it is love, not regrets, that keeps me company. And in the quiet moments, when the wind whispers through the trees, I swear I can hear her voice, reminding me that sometimes the most beautiful stories have the saddest endings.